Dear friends, welcome to the last presentation of this beautiful marathon. So I will present you the Physiologic protocol for singing voice learners. And this man was Carlo Labus, the first otolaryngologist, the first phoniatrician in Italy. And throughout his life, he fought metaphors and techniques that lead to force the voice and stressed the need to know the physiological basis of the vocal gesture and the risks of developing pathologies. And he wrote, Singing Study is vocal organ gyms and each function in our body, each pedagogic system, when used unphysiologically, bring to early ruin of the malmanaged organ and of those related to it. And he was this man in the center with a white beard. And in the Musical Didactic Congress in Milan in 1908, it was the century of the Milan Conservatory. He was the president of a singing session, and is so weird that we have a doctor as president of a singing session in a conservatory. And in the session itself, there were most of the famous singing teachers of Milan Conservatory in Italy. And there were Arrigo Boito, there were the singing teacher of Beniamino Gigli and many others. And Labus' lecture was exercises, physiological progression in the study of singing. And these were the real sheets, both written and typed. We found it in Milan Conservatory Bibliothèque. And these were the pupils of the Milan Conservatory and Maestro Cazzaniga, who contributed to translate it and reorder all those sheets in this book edited by the Conservatory, Science and Art of Voice. And he wrote that singing teachers bring their most precious contribution because of their experience, which built up their didactic approach. But also physiology, anatomy may rule the laws that help us to use our vocal organ as better as possible. So the joint action of pedagogy and physiology may give the best result and the safest results. These were the 14 points of a protocol, which were never moved to a more difficult exercise only if mastered the simplest one. The duration of the working voice must be short at first and slowly progressing. Working voice must be alternating with frequent rests. Every exercise must be done in adagio at first. Exercises must be performed in mezza voce. The first gym is breathing, and there might be damages from upper respiration. The production of laryngeal primal sound. Exercising in perfect pitch in tessitura. Exercising in pitch precision, all the extension and progression to upper range exercises. Exercise in intensity are only the 10th point of our protocol, and then exercises in bearing color, vocalization, separation of syllables, agility exercises, and it's beautiful that at the 13th point is exercises in incorrect singing and uncomfortable postures, because when a person starts to learn how to sing, of course there are errors at the beginning, and technique must correct the errors. But almost at last of your path to learn how to sing, you should reconsider your error and understand how did you make error, and how to cope with errors throughout your activity in voice. And also exercise in uncomfortable posture, because it's not always possible to sing in the most comfortable posture for you, but you must cope with the sonography, with the positions you are put from someone else, and you must cope also with a comfortable postures. And last, exercises combining all forms of exercise with words, expression, interpretation, of course. So you shouldn't start with scores, but arrive to scores. And the first gym is the control of respiration, because minimal lift, Bruns minimal lift is enough. Herring Breuer demonstrated us that there is a respiratory reflex, a neurorespiratory reflex controlled by dorsal and ventral respiratory neurons that control diaphragm and intercostal abdominal muscles. So when we arrive at 0.8 liters, it causes us to expirate. So if we master good in the better way, this 0.8 liter of air, it should give us the most of our singing possibilities. And each muscle artistically coordinated in the best way and with the slightest effort. And we must work in the less effort and the less fatigue, because of the coordination of all these parts may give the best results. And this was the way we are singing Tamagno, Caruso, Tetrazzini, Rosina Storchio, many others. Because bel canto is ergonomy, bel canto is vocal hygiene, and is an harmony which is most proper and most apt mean to help us to behave in a safe and healthy way our vocal organs. And so every useless effort is excluded. It doesn't mean we mustn't use effort in our singing practice, but not the useless effort. And so in this way, the Italian art of singing, but I think every art of singing was that easy, natural, hygienic, without useless musical effort, and as well non-irritating for mucosa. You may also sing in heavy metal, but it must be useless, no useless musical effort. Your effort must be focused on the result you want. And every exercise must be done in adagio at first and performed in mezza voce. Why? Because if you focus in a small work with small frequency, small rest, because of elastic tissues, and repeating and paying attention to what you are doing, and not to the acoustic result, but what you are doing to do that. The coordination, the best coordination of what you are doing will set the best working memory protocol. And so we mustn't again recur to useless effort, to intensity abuse, because they damage the natural tissues function, and so they damage voice. And this is beautiful. Lavos and as well as Moore Mackenzie and many others in those times were working only with a laryngeal mirror, but they were really aware of the intraglottal space and of the control of vocal edges spacing, which was paramount to learn to speak and sing well. So the first care will be getting accustomed to keep position, to keep a sound even in pitch and intensity, which means a stable tension in vocal edges, as well as breathing and buccopharyngeal muscle postures. So it was already known we must work with the intraglottal space. We must pay attention to the intraglottal space. and exercises in pitch must progress, and then work all over the range and in intensity, and then in color, vocalization, separation, and syllables. In a sense, it means legare. When we want to legare, we must master all of these parts, as well as when we want to use a staccato. You can't do nor legare neither staccato if you can't master these parts and physiologically master them. And this was a drawing from Caruso Marafiotti, a book about Caruso's method of voice production. And Caruso pointed out the same thing. We must know the right placement, we must know the right position, and placing vowels and also consonant sounds correct for the language I want to sing is a fundamental. It's not the same if I master my Italian vowels, my Northern Italian vowels, Southern Italian vowels, or my German, English, Chinese, Spanish, Russian vowels. If I want to sing another language, I must know the way to place them in my vocal tract as well as fingers on the piano keyboard. And is also a way to find out hidden wrong tension. If I'm not able to pronounce properly a vowel in a language, it might come from a wrong hidden tension in my tongue, in my velum, in somewhere in my vocal tract. So, as Labus was written in the beginning of this of the book, which was published posthumous and resumed all his work, he wrote, "It's not my intention to present a treatise of phoniatics, but just to give some useful notions and necessary for those who are working with voice in their profession." And these were also the physiological basis for the practice of opera singing in Italy that is now an intangible heritage for UNESCO and for all of us. Is not meant that only in Italy we have opera singing, but that is some sort of a physiological basis which might be spread to other languages as well as it was in our history. And only physiology may help indeed to win a marathon. And you now won the Voice Marathon 2024 because, folks, it's over now. Thank you.